Good morning, students. Let us discuss the next part of the lesson, rights approach to development. So yesterday we have discussed about RTI, Right to Information Act. So this is one of the most important act to get the information from the government departments. Okay, so actually it was started in Rajasthan first. So some people of Rajasthan uh, organized themselves under the banner of Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangam and demanded information. So after a long struggle, so after hartals, rallies, marches, okay, after the long struggle, so this law was passed in Rajasthan state in 1995. Later, all the states adopted similar laws. So finally, the Right to Information Act was passed by the Parliament in 2005. Okay, so provisions of under RTI. What is the importance of RTI, Right to Information Act? So law prescribes that any individual can get documents like government orders, reports, advices, long books, rules and regulations, attendance list, letters, okay, any laws, formed copy of laws, like that. So most of the information we can get, any individual also can get the documents from the government through RTI Act. So the officials cannot deny this right. Okay, so the person who wishes to get the information, this information may have to pay a small amount that will meet the expenses like making a copy of the document. So how the individual get the information? So if any person want to get any information in any office, so they have to pay a small amount, 5 rupees or 10 rupees, when they are going to apply under RTI. So what purpose they have to pay that amount? So to prepare a copy, printouts or xerox. Clear? So for download from internet, for that to meet the expenses, the individual person who is applying under RTI to get the information has to pay some amount. Okay, but if the person who is asking for the information is below poverty line, then he or she need not to pay this amount. Already you know that who are comes under below poverty line. So those need not to pay this small amount also, that 5 rupees or 10 rupees also need not to pay. So law also prescribes that in every government office there should be an officer in charge to respond to these questions. So whom to approach to get this information? So after going the office, so everyone will busy with work. So to whom we should approach? So for that purpose, in every government, law also prescribe that in every government, so office, there should be an officer in charge to respond to these questions. So one responsibility given to one officer. So he or she is known as information officer. Above the information officer, there is another individual appellate authority who is expected to make sure that due action is taken. So another officer also there on above the information officer. So what is the duty of him? So he will ensure, okay, he will take the responsibility, okay, so about that work. Okay, further at the state and central government level, there should be independent information commissions. So from the bottom to central level, so different authorities are there, so work on this act. If you don't get any information, we can approach to higher authorities, we can complain to another higher authorities. So law also prescribes how much time each department may take provide the information requested. So after applying, so if the people won't, if the authorities won't give, we have to wait for months. So to avoid that delay, so what they said, they prescribed time also. How much we have to pay? Within how many days that information we will get. Okay. So this ensures that departments don't withhold the information for a very long period. If they interested or not interested, they have to provide the information. They can't withhold with them. In case the information is not provided in the prescribed time, the person can complain to the concerned higher officer and then register cases at the state or central information commissions. We can, if any authority in the bottom level, so intentionally who are not providing information to us, okay, so then we can make a complaint on them in higher offices. And another procedure also there, we can register a case at the state or central information commission against that person. So then people can listen. So they if they don't give, the people can approach their officials. Then those people have some fear about that. So you can see here in every office, Right to Information Act 2005, Public Information Officer, headmaster, that phone name. So like that in every office, they are publishing their names who are belongs to this act. So under the RTA Act, it is also compulsory for every government office to declare certain information in public even without being asked by the people. So themselves, the government offices themselves declare the certain information. Who can give this information? Who is the information officer or higher authority? That they should disclose or declare, okay, publish without asking also. You can identify them on the walls of them these office buildings, or if you have access to internet, you will find that most government department websites also provide the information about basic aspects of their institutions under RTA column. So if they don't declare, so we can find this information through internet also. Visit any of these government offices directly or their websites and not note them down. So rights approach to improve the living conditions. So in the previous class, we have discussed about the right to life, right to food. So after so many struggles, so the people achieved those rights. So even Constitution gave some fundamental rights, but again people fought for right to food and right to employment, right to life. Okay, finally they achieved. Okay, so it is not just a question of governments being kind to the poor by providing them with opportunities of labor, and providing access to food at a reasonable rates so that their living conditions can be improved. If you provide access to food, access to employment, so that is then living standard of the people will be increased. That is the responsibility of the government. Okay, not it is a waste of funds. It also enhances the health and welfare of the entire society. Yet it is true, as in the case of social audit of Manurga, you read about in the previous chapter, that citizens need to be active in monitoring the performance of the government system regularly, just as the elected representatives do. So all these rights enhances to health and welfare later. So when the government schemes are implemented, the people should be monitor those schemes. Where the government works are going on, the surrounding people should be monitored. Then only we can stop the corruption. Okay, then the works will done properly. Okay, next, right of children to free and compulsory education Act 2009 RTE. So this is another act enacted by the government. So through RTA, Right to Information Act, so what you understand, so any individual person can get the information from the government. So many people applied under RTA and find so many corrupted persons. Okay, and even previously I said already in the classroom also, one person applied about how much expenditure spent by the former president Pratibha Patil for her foreign tours. So that information also they got through RTI. Okay, so every information we can get through RTA. Next, another one is Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education, RT, Right to Education Act 2009. So at the time of freedom movement also, so Gopalakrishna Gokhale in 1911 demanded from the British colonial government that they make a law for free and compulsory education for all children of the country. So before independent also, so Gopalakrishna Gokhale, one of the social reformer and national leader, so demanded the British government to provide this law and this facility. Of course, the British government did not agree. So unfortunately, after independent also, that was not implemented immediately. So finally, in 2002, the Parliament recognized education as a fundamental right. So the 86th Amendment of the Constitution that made education a fundamental right was passed in the year 2002. Already you know that what is the meaning of amendment. So change of any law is called the amendment. So they don't modify entire law. So we add or deduct some items from that law. So that is the meaning of amendment. So finally in 2002 Parliament did 86th Amendment to provide this facility. So amendment says that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children between the ages of 6 and 14 through a law that it may determine. This law was finally passed in 2009 and is called the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. So what is the benefit of this law? So according to this law, so government should provide free and compulsory education to the children who are the ages between 6 and 14 years. So this is implementing in our country. So government already established so many government schools in our areas. Through the government schools, they are trying to provide free and compulsory education. Okay, so according to this law, the children between 6 and 14 years should not be outside at the time of school hours. Okay, so if you find any person, any children outside without school, we can complain to concerned authorities. Even local authorities like panchayati presidents, ward members, other people should find these people and they should enroll them into the schools. Okay, so sometimes what happened according along with the parents, migrant parents, so the children will migrate to different towns or villages, then they discontinue their education. Okay, so RTE law declared that all children of the age of 6 to 14 years have the right to free education, and the state has to ensure the building of sufficient schools in all the neighborhoods, appoint properly qualified teachers, and made all necessary provisions for quality educations. So according to this law, so the government should provide the schools. So according to education department, for every 2 kilometers they should provide one school based on the strength of the children. So like that here they should provide buildings and appoint properly qualified teachers and make all necessary provisions for quality of education. What are the meaning of all necessary provisions? Like washrooms, drinking water, playground, okay, furniture, labs, like that. So it also declared that the education should ensure all round development of the children, learning through activities, discovery and exploration in a child friendly manner. It also states that children should taught in their mother tongue and they should be free of fear, trauma and anxiety and be able to express their views freely. So recently central government going to introduce the new education policy. So according to new education policy up to 5th class, so in every school they should teach in mother tongue. So then the students can understand easily, so they can respond without fear, okay, without any fear and all those. Okay, next, in case free neighborhood schools are not available, in case sufficient number of teachers are not available in the schools, or sufficient teaching learning materials are not available, if the child is beaten or terrorized, are forced to study in an unfriendly manner, such children can complain to the courts against the authorities. So here, in case free neighborhood schools are not available, one, in case sufficient number of teachers are not available in the schools. In the last year, one incident was happened. So in some school in Mahbub Nagar, in some area, so the students almost nearly 350 students wrote letters to Judge of High Court about lack of teachers. Okay, they wrote the letters to judge. So in our schools there were no sufficient teachers to teach us. So government is not maintaining not appointed qualified to teachers in our school. Like that they wrote the letters. 350 students individually wrote 350 letters to judge. Immediately the judge taken that case personally, and he ordered to government provide the teachers to that school. So like that, if the government not able to provide sufficient number of teachers or any facilities, the students can complain to the courts against the authorities. Okay, clear? So let us discuss once again about Rajasthan women. So Jain Sanwai. So this who are started agitation about the Information Act in Rajasthan. So mix used to conduct meetings called Jan Sanwai or people's hearings. So it is true that many people cannot read the government document themselves. So they may be uneducated, or they may not understand some technical words in the government documents. So, but every person in a village would like to know what the document says. So how can they know about this? So some people may read out and explain those documents in the group. So a muster roll would give names of the people for whom wages were paid for making a hand pump. The villagers can identify if the people mentioned in the muster roll were present during those days or were migrants. So sometimes already we have discussed in the previous class. At the time of social audit, they found that they wrote excess payments in the registers. So by verifying the muster roll, they can identify either the names of the workers mentioned in the register are true or not. Okay, or if they were paid the amount stated in the document. Are they paid the same amount, or reduced amount they paid to the people, they can identify. Okay, next. This would bring out the corrupting practices. Through these events, people brought in necessary action. Officials were also given opportunity to defend and talk about the details given in the documents. The district administration and panchayat officials also participated in those meetings. When corruption was identified, criminal cases were registered against the concerned persons. So like that, so those people fought for the Information Act. So here the right of children to free and compulsory education Act 2009 given here. So the RT Act is meant for providing free and compulsory education to all children in the group of 6 to 14 and come into force from 1st April 2010. Important provisions of RTE Act ensure availability of schools within the reach of the children, improve schools infrastructure facilities, enroll children in the class appropriate to age. Children have a right to receive special training in order to be at par with other children. Next, no removal of name and repetition of the child in the same class. No child shall be subject to physical punishment or mental harassment. So eligible candidates alone shall be appointed as teachers. No board examination shall be conducted to the children till the completion of elementary education. Okay. No discrimination and related practices towards children belonging to backward at marginalized communities, like that. So many rules inserted in this right to information education act. Okay, so like that, so many laws enacted for the benefit of the children, for the benefit of the people, so we can utilize these rights to get information and to get our rights. Clear? With this, lesson is completed. Write your own notes. Thank you.